To this day, very few games use Aztec mythology. While the setting is very popular because it is extremely beautiful, most Yankee companies are afraid to depict the other side of Aztecs, where they were breeding humans like cattle for sacrifices, so that the rivers of blood will never run dry. Outside of big strategy games which do not even use the setting properly, like The Conquerors, what do we even have? There's Aztecs which has no color. There's one character in Loki. What else? A couple of recently released or unfinished city builders, and some games about conquistadors and Indiana Jones type adventurers. So finally Age of Mythology got a paid DLC which adds a pantheon that many people crave, and from the beginning it is another glorious example of multi-million dollar corporation Microsoft being banned on Google and Wikipedia. Turkey Bird is called Turkey Country in many languages the game is slop-slated into. So is it Microsoft AI or blatant racism where all these non-Anglo-Saxon customers do not deserve even 30 seconds of employees' time to open Wikipedia and look up how the bird is called? Normal people would even buy a dictionary. I don't know if they can prove that these new god portraits are not AI slop, but they sure do look like the most epitomous AI slop, maybe with slight adjustments, which fits with the rest of AI slop and AI slop accessories art style of this game from a multi-million dollar corporation Microsoft, which added AI slop to Notepad and even Paintbrush. In the newest version, the pathfinding and unit AI are busted even more than before. The unit attack priority is now the worst since the release. Units literally do not attack or defend, but dance around castles while being killed, probably trying to pitch peasant asses bombs. The auto scouts all run together in the same direction and then get stuck and stand in one place, despite there being plenty of land to uncover. That's on top of them always running into enemies' castles instead of keeping their distance. The transports are literally broken. When you command them to disembark units, they just return back after reaching the target shore, and that's if you are lucky, because they just as easily take your peasants and instead of going where you've pointed, we disembark them right into the enemy's base. The skirmish AI is currently entirely busted, easiest which is called standard. With balanced personality instead sends giant armies from the first second, even with the minimal resources setting. Passive AI is aggressive and the literal no AI sends titans after you and starts building a wonder the second you get to the fourth age. There's also something wrong with the music engine in the current version. It doesn't work as it should and I did check the settings. When creating the new faction, they didn't shy away from Aztec human sacrifices, but also they use blatant dehumanizing Novayas officialese, calling living human blood sacrifices devotions.
You see, I don't like euphemisms. I don't like language that reflects fear and conceals the truth.
Yet if the blood DLC is enabled, there are blood decals on the buildings. The human blood sacrifices, devotions, even play a central role in this game. They are used for mana generation in the Age of Mythology. You have to convert 1000 food into a constant mana trickle by the means of birthing 20 humans, bringing them up to adulthood and instantly sending them to religious organizations to be bloody slaughtered in exchange for measly returns. The defensive buildings also gather some mana from the killed enemies, and the hero unit can accompany the army into the fights to gather some mana from butchered enemies on the move. Overall, Aztecs aren't very good at mana generation, so it should be used thoughtfully. Especially bloodthirsty players can make a conga line of young adults going directly from cities into religious facilities to die and paint the world red. But the inflation rises so fast that it turns into exchange of 50 food for just 1 point of mana. In real life, Aztecs did have major gods, so there was enough to get the full pantheon. More than that, there are 4 brothers, but Microsoft will sell the 4th one separately. Huitzilopochtli is the most boring god. Despite being a god of war, he is focused on minor economy bonuses, like getting cheaper temples, castles and cities, and getting a bit of resources from dead enemies. Tezcatlipoca in this game is a god of lies. He boosts mana a very tiny bit and offers a chance to get back a half of the lost myth units, half by the number, not by the quality, which means you can use only the cheapest myth units, which will be converted in combat into your H4 units 2-1. For example, the wood core snakes into Soul Guide. The only real thing Quetzalcoatl offers is additional mana generation on top of the 20 human sacrifices, devotions. You can assign priests to work at temples and they will lose half of their HP. You can also research the tech to sacrifice, devote chickens to theoretically boost peasants, which works in synergy with the food drop-off bonus. You don't need chickens when you are already at the agricultural stage, but you sure don't need the food bonus from the farms. But this technology has no status pop-up anywhere everywhere to show that it is working. While I was editing it, it was patched. The main star of Age of Mythology is mythology units. In the original game you couldn't even recast the spells. For the water myth unit everyone has Axolotl, which is a giant axolotl. It doesn't have one time go to land button. More than that, they didn't come up with a second water unit, so they just stayed screwed and made the mutant axolotl, which is the same axolotl but amphibious. It's not even an upgrade, just the same unit, twice. Every god has the tanky siege dude trained at the castle that throws stones far away, because at least in the Age of Mythology Aztecs don't have onagers, ballistas and counterweight trebuchets. In the second age you have Sanson to Touchtin, which is clearly not Sanson. It's a rabbit pack of two, which theoretically acts like a hydra and can grow in numbers, still not up to Sanson. Maybe it can be used to raid enemy echo, both bushes and farms. Don't know, only PvP players can tell, because in PvE it's rather weak. They do not eat the farms fast enough, don't heal fast enough, neither do they get meaningfully stronger. Even in the best case scenario in the 5th age, you also have a trouser snake with 2 heads, which exists. And you have Chanekis, a mythical laser archers to be must, which also can go into siege mode and become really tough. But the hotkey is broken, it works only one unit at a time, and even when it starts cycling for unsiege before it goes through every unit in the selection. But I found that you can force a mass command with shift plus Q. In the siege mode we have funny broken sound. In the 3rd age you have Ayototli, which is a word meaning armadillo. Yep, literally just an armadillo but a bit big. It has some HP and siege bonus, but they aren't that strong or interesting. As all siege units, they need good support from normal troops. The unit is not even based on anything, as far as I can find. Just armadillo but in a different language, and they made it big. No related myths or anything. Then you have the Obsidian butterfly, which is a weak melee fighter with the gimmick that it is amphibious. The unit is not exactly a thing, because Obsidian butterfly is the goddess which unlocks them, and the goddess can only be one, not a generic unit. Finally you have the Star Demons, with bugged model with deflating teeth and idle animation. It is just a melee fighter with minor vampirism, and they don't even have snakes up their snatches. In the 4th age you have the Demon Dog, Ahuitzotl, which can swim and eats humans on cooldown. It's good for surprise amphibious attacks, but it isn't that sturdy, probably for balance reasons. Then you have Tunkuluchu, which is a Mayan word, and the unit is just an owl that can't fly. Should have been Tlakatacoatl or something, and looking less like a generic animal. It's just an underperforming T4 tank with a giant footprint, so only a few can attack the same target at the same time. The star of the 4th age is the Soul Guide. It is a made up thing which acts opposite of what Soul Guides do. Instead of helping dead to afterlife, the unit converts enemy souls into temporary demons you can't control. Also they have a ranged attack on cooldown. They are pretty tanky, mobile and good damagers. The summoned demons can act as mid shields, and with the first ranged AoE attack, the enemy forces are thrown into chaos before they can reach Soul Guides. Yeah, that's a lot of simple animals for a myth selection, and a lot of these units are extremely obscure or entirely made up. It's like we struggled to get that many units and just went armadillo. To counter always hostile mythical units of the Age of Mythology, Aztecs chose to suffer and die. Without the help from the campaign protagonists, the only Aztec heroes are melee priests, who are weak. Really weak. You can do nothing against enemy flyers. Even to respond to myth units with myth units, you have only Chaneks, if you chose to accept them. If not, get banned and mass weak human archers. While I was editing it, it was patched. Egyptian monks are not that strong, but you can mass them and use as archers and healers. Aztec monks die and be stepped on by titans. They only matter when you outright mass them with all the upgrades. At the same time, if you want to have some more mana, you have to include them into every army, ruining pathfinding and unit AI with the terrible formations which never worked. And they can't even heal. To improve your chances against a myth unit rush, you can transform one of the dudes into a slightly stronger dude, putting a ticking bomb in its arse, and you can have only one slightly stronger dude at a time. In the 4th age you can also sacrifice, devote 6 these dudes once per match to get a slightly stronger version of the slightly stronger dude with a slightly longer timer on the ticking bomb up its arse. The priests can also build towers, castles and temples to drop a forward base producing reinforcements right near the enemy's base. But Aztecs have no bowling oil or analogs, so any lone spearman will destroy all your defenses buildings unless you chose Tlaloc in the 4th age to have access to an analogous technology. The castles can also hold over sacrifices, devotions. Sacrifice, devote. 3 Thanksgiving chickens so that you can devote. Thanksgiving presents more efficiently for a short time. Sacrifice, devote 15 soldiers and get a selection of myth units from the 3rd and 4th ages. Most of the spells in the original game was just PvP coquetry, but Retold adding recast and the 5th age significantly improved their usability, creating a meaningful choice between casting a spell or getting more myth units for that mana price. So some tier 1 spells are now very good, especially in the later ages. Тёзка Топилка has no own tier 1 spell. Instead, it steals one from other players in the game, so it depends exclusively on who you are playing against. You can get the Gnomish Mine, the minor food buff, or just the stupid vision, which Lopotchly gives a time bomb tiny buff to one unit, and you can't even target anything fun with it, like a Titan. Quetzalcoatl offers Tailwind, which boosts walking speed for all units in a very big AoE, so for slow units with a long commute, it is actually pretty good. Infestation creates a small scorpion generator, but it is sadly timed. The scorpions are obviously very weak, but accumulating 100 of generators at the 5th age and sending a river of petty tiny scorpions towards the enemies would have been fun. It works as a last-ditch defense addition or for supporting an early rush attack. Lullaby stuns enemies for some time. Agave Bloom creates a tree which is a food source. It also converts the food inside into healing in AoE. Starfall is a weak attack spell with big AoE, but it also leaves about 3-star demons, so it can support an attack or help against an early rush. Earth Monster is a graboid who chomps, but then releases some enemy units. It's more of a disrupting than damaging spell. Purge attacks one type of a unit in a medium AoE. Can be useful if enemy masses only one unit. It can target peasants or anything good. Boo! Volcano is an Aztec nuke. It destroys many buildings in the middle and damages some stuff around. Corrupted Ground is a support spell for a good fight with many victims. It converts the fallen enemies into temporary uncontrollable allies. Pillar of Tlalocan is a word spell. It nukes whatever building it falls onto, but then it remains as a support tower, throwing enemy units around. The pillar can be used for defense and then reinforced with other towers, or be dropped onto enemy fortifications right before an attack. While I was writing this, it was patched to stop destroying your buildings and units. It was buffed a bit, but now you cannot even drop it anywhere, only far away from everything on empty land. While I was editing it, it was patched. The economy gimmick of Aztecs is the universal drop-off building, that can be tuned to a specific resource one at a time, one for a type. They all boost the gather rates, and on top of that, the food add-on generates chickens, the wood add-on adds a weak tower, the gold add-on converts a bit of our resources into a bit of gold. The downside is the peasants do not focus resources when building the thing, so if you drop one on gold, several dudes will go and chop trees and bushes nearby. Human units do not matter in Age of Mythology, especially with the stupid overly complex system of counters, which do not matter, and then they are not even split into ranged and melee barracks, but mixed and matched randomly for most of the civs. And AOM has no trash units, everything demands gold, so it's always better to just get more myth units unless you play against Norse. You don't even need dedicated siege, since AOM fortifications are a joke, and in Retold even a small pack of human archers destroys castles easily. Spears and archers from Barracks 1 and scouts from TCs can drop traps. There is the stun and damage trap and the minor debuff trap. They cost wood, they are single use, and by default you can build 6 of each. They had red icons on release, but now they are made not red. The scout works a bit like the Atlantean one, increasing line of sight while standing in one place. Coyote Warrior is a unit. Ocelotl enters stealth near trees, with an annoying sound, always playing while your army is going in and out of stealth on the march. It also jumps into battle. Jaguar Rider is the same Ocelotl, but a chick rides him. Eagles throw javelins, but since it's not a trash unit, what's the difference with the archer? They both die the same to myth units, and both easily destroy castles all the same. Shorn is a melee guy. For siege, there's by melee infantry, instead of rams. The Titan is Sipactli, which is a primeval sea monster, so yes, at least it's not just a nipple dude. But as far as the Mother of God goes, the real Aztec Titans would be a Metacuhtli and Omesihuatl. So this new civilization, it's not very exciting. The economy is done pretty good, the mythical monsters are pretty weak, with a half or more of them being pointless animals. The models of the warriors are decent, but who cares about dead meat in Age of Mythology? The architecture should be decent too, but there's something with the palette that makes it unnoticeable besides the towers, which do stand out, which work visually only with the Blood DLC. The spell selection is so-so, meh. Mid, at best. The campaign opens with a cutscene which sucks. First of all, it has very bad sound and feels eerily mute. Second, it introduces Dick. It shows you the three gods, the four protagonists, and doesn't introduce anyone in any meaningful way. Neither you are introduced to the setting. And since it's all made up fiction, even people who study Aztec myths can recognize only some of the names. You are just dropped in onto someone's conversation and all hell breaks loose. It works even worse with two of the three gods looking like generic half-naked dudes who surround them. Only developers can tell them all apart. And yet, when the action has already started, some characters do cringe preschool media tier introductions.
I, Tezcatlipoca, his powerful brother. I am Huitzilopochtli, god of warriors and sun.
Hi, I'm Muzzy. Big Muzzy.
The first map just asks of you to defend a bit. You play as a warrior god. There's no economy to build and most of the upgrades are already researched. Just get your army and attack move towards the side objectives. First go left and right or vice versa and have the fighting dudes. The faster you come, the more units you get. The neutral flying trouser snake destroys an hour neutral gate when the third and the fourth waves are done. So you can go and help more units to get them. First on the upper path, then on the lower. There are invisible walls near the stones, so that you magically cannot go and just break them. Overall, it's just defend for 20 minutes mission. Much fun, so wow. In the second map you, the war god, decide to flee some way. Everybody comes to some desert, leaving the farmlands and a big city behind. There they get betrayed by some minor god, but somehow you still continue to use its units and technologies to fight its son. The map gives you a taste of Russian elections, where you have two no choices for the next age. You can progress as far as you want into the third age, then after a human sacrifice, devotion, the walls will open so you can venture forth, where you attack move and gather units. The third map continues with arc, and you just attack move half the map deep, then stealth around and build traps for patrols and free peasants. When you need to get a small army of just 50 units for the final battle. There's an error in the cutscene. The dude says you'll not set one foot in here. Meanwhile, the subtitle goes not step set one foot in here. After which the perspective changes. Now you play as Castor. Fucking Castor with fucking Aztecs. Show your fucking Nepo baby Hitler up your fucking arse. I did not buy an Aztec story with Aztec mythology for your white earth Nepo baby Hitler art fiction, where he didn't do nothing and it all was the plot of triple parenthesis and Castor is innocent. Fuck you, eat dicks, fuck Castor, fuck all Hitlers to hell. This is an Aztec story, not your white earth. Worse than that, there are Hitler livers who actually say this is a good thing, and Castor didn't do nothing, and the Germans are the most oppressed people in the history of humanity. It's good that all the old characters are involved. Yeah, fuck was white earth sideways. If it's good that the old characters are involved, where's the Asians? Both Japan and China heroes are not invited to this Memberry festival where you remember Chewbacca again. Old people living in the past is the reason we live in this shit right now.
Old people burning, put your hands up. Old people burning,
You are dropped right in the middle of Atlantean civil war, so clearly not all people agree to be under Nepo baby Hitler's rule. Well, Castor sees human sacrifice, devotion, to the god of lies and doesn't even question it. Seeing what company Nepo baby Hitler keeps, no wonder there's a civil war and anti-Nepo baby Hitler resistance. First there's a short tactical attack move segment, then a siege of a small enemy base. You get Tezcatlipoca as a hero unit and his attack is broken. He always takes like 2 seconds rest before a strike. The end cutscene is showing Castor wanking to some dude's wife. So Castor was not enough for you. Here, Ajax and Amandra. What the hell this to forgot who knows even where, instead of sitting home? And how much did they pay Uber to get here? And now all of them conspire to take down a girl boss. The story says you have allies, but in the map they do not want to see your immigrant heirs in their city. They do not want to trade with you or even talk to you. The first goal is to build up economy and assault a naval base. And there's zero sense in why it has to be you, while everyone else sits in their base and do nothing. There are 3 sealers and 3 hiders. And the caster says, what monster represent these hiders? Truly a people's person. Once you make a landing, your entire army is despawned, and you are given 1 hero to attack move to the flag. But the rest of your base is active, and you probably can send some more units, and even peasants, to take over the town. Which doesn't matter anyway, because after the stupid cutscene, it turns into a tactical attack move map. But wait, there's more! It's gnomes! Gnomes! Don't you just cum the cum of dinosaurs? It's gnomes, I'm gonna gnat! It's an our boring stupid attack move tactical map. But you have berserks and a bit of wood, which means you can build the trader, get some gold from the dragons, then build a settlement and use the gnome hero to solve the economy for blacksmith upgrades. At least that was my initial plan. But when I built the settlement, I got 4 peasants and access to all the buildings and technologies. So I started farming gold dragons from the mother of all dragons and researched everything. I got a titan and moved it into the 5th age. The funny thing is, the gold dragons spawn with the stance of your heroes, so if you use the do not attack stance, the spawn dragons will not attack too. There's an achievement to free all the free units, which most people do anyway, but some of the people miss that there's also a bear hero. The cutscene says, now you understand the plight of our people, but it shows a slideshow as bad as the campaign's writing. The aztecs also say, gold has little value to our people. Yeah? Why when everything costs gold in Aztec Tech 3? But that's not all. Gnomes? I said gnomes? Now it's fucking Heron. Remember Chewbacca again. When you absolutely positively got to make every motherfucker in the room remember Chewbacca again. Fucking learn to let go. Fucking learn to forgive yourself. It's fucking hates again. For fuck's sake, fucking fuck. Fuck with fucking shit and the fucking fuck. And it is called hates by name. And you aren't hates. Fighting hates called by name. Of course he is pissed. Greek hates is in multiculturalism hell. The hates is invaded by all the illegal immigrants from across all the pantheons. They are even Asians. It doesn't matter what you believe in which gods you worship. Take a vacation in hates. Come! First, it is a stupid attack move segment with heroes against mythical monsters. Then, it's a King of the Hill map, won in minutes. There's an achievement to destroy enemy TCs instead of code on hard, which does not even work. Anyway, I just defended one road, took over the vault to get the control of the gates, and went into the zoo. Then, after the Colossus, and with such fun company, just marched through the gates from one TC to the other. And nothing, the achievement does not work. Even after the patch. While I was editing it, it was patched.
I cannot stand this waiting. Stay, he said. Why must we stay?
Stay, he said. No, he didn't. He didn't say anything. Because the audio design in this campaign sucks ass, and the half of the audio was just never recorded. So the 8th map changed the point of view again. You are back to playing the war god, and you are regressed to the 3rd age. Just get the economy running, get the units, and besiege the 2 towns, and build up one after that. There is a free city behind with more resources. There is a monkey in the sea, and 3 mythical siege dudes in the upper corner, near the back door into Purple's base. And now a change of POV. Now you play as the pocket-sized trouser snake for pocket billiards. The dude says it's no sacrifice when a life is not given freely. What? Aztecs sure did not think so. This map is a total waste of time. You just sit on your bum, do nothing and defend a little. So, did you like the 8th map? Because it is recycled again. And again. And your POV is back to the God of War. First counterattack the 3 directions, then defend 3 roads and your allies. Then get the 3 relics. The main goal is to build a wonder. Destroying all the enemies does not win the map, but it's more fun and makes sure the roads are protected. If anything, destroying pink is very advisable, because the allies can be protected with towers or be left to die so you can steal the towns. And the other 2 roads are near each other. Meanwhile, pink is pretty weak and can be dealt with quickly. You have hard limit of 300 pop cap even if you get all the towns. Back to the trouser snake. It is a post-Titans DLC, so of course there is a Titan map. There is an achievement to stop the Titan before it destroys the 2nd village. If you act fast on the standard difficulty, it can be won by yellow alone in minutes. Just get economy running and donate cash. But make sure it's the exact numbers, because the trigger doesn't accept tribute in several parts. Then distract the Titan with your heroes and a trickle of over mid shields, while yellow archers annihilated. Otherwise, you need your own economy going to secure a steady stream of distracting tank meat and a blob of archers to kill the Titan. Aztecs have no flyers and you don't have access to the mythic archers. Yep, it's the same map again. And it's a fart and a paddle as a finale. First you wait 10 minutes, when after a terrible laughable cutscene you click the Titan once and wait. When you press Ctrl plus A and attack move between several targets. In the last stage all your research resets. The peasants can't build anything, but you can repair the green buildings, after which they change sides. Not the wonder though, it doesn't enable the 5th age. Gameplay-wise, you barely ever need to build a new city. Some people think that Dune 2 Warcraft 2 gameplay is not that fun, because they hate RTS as a genre. But even if you want more diverse maps, making all the maps attack move tactics and stay in one place until time runs out is sure not diversity either. The campaign lets you play with all three gods one way or another. But do you really? Most of the maps are tactical, or you already have all the research done. Building new bases is fun too. Not everything has to be attack walking simulator. And sure, not everything should be do nothing sit in one place defense missions. Story-wise, the campaign sucks. It is told poorly, and the plot is crap. These meme berries are only worth it to be fed to cockservacaks who want to remember Chewbacca again, and see white people everywhere. Especially if it's Nepo Baby Hitler. And notice how it's the original Ensemble Studios characters again. While we hide Asian from the DLC campaigns. Stop Asian hate, whatever it means. And don't tell me about Amandra. Don't you see she's an African USIer instead of an Egyptian representing the Egyptian people? Have you learned nothing from Yakub? The writing is full crap. Nothing is properly set up, the dialogues are crap, the poorly done characters are cringe.
So he grew up with what they call daddy issues.
The core story is fake and poorly made up. Hi, I'm Microsoft. You know, there's an issue facing many USIers today that I know concerns a great number of us. According to Gallup polls, 1 in 12 USIers is not remembering Chewbacca again. I, for one, dream of Yankistan where everybody remembers Chewbacca again.
Remember Chewbacca again? Oh, I love to remember Chewbacca.
The Popocatépetl and Iztaccíhuatl part is an entirely unrelated legend. It is crowbarred in poorly, and it is done poorly, and obviously unfaithfully, like Castor. What happens in the final cutscene looks like crap, while what it is supposed to mean is that the god turned them into mountains. But in the cutscene, the mountains were already there, and the dude even climbed one. Well, Aumr cutscenes are crap in general. It's a 2024 game, but there's no yapping mouths. Boo! They could have fixed that and patched that in anytime. And in this campaign the cutscenes are even worse, with bad and broken sound design and often missing music. The Obsidian mirror scenes are especially bad and poorly done. And then the Obsidian mirror is a perfect representation of this DLC. It doesn't even look like a mirror. It looks cracked, scratched and broken. It's a crappy cosmetic garbage BS. They are selling for an additional price what they cut out of the original game. And it is poorly done. There are a lot of options, but I do not know how to make it work in a realistic manner, similar to the original game. Instead it splatters comical puddles of blood everywhere, but it also lets you see units HP at a glance. If you disabled the option to see units HP bars at a glance. The only decent option is to make mythical units bleed gay blood, which makes them more mythical. And to force everyone to buy the cosmetic DLC, they added achievements to it to abuse vulnerable obsessive people.
Holding on to what we had can be so self-destroying.
Finally, we have trans rights matter representation in the game. It's a new variant for Greeks, and as these additions go, for now and ever, these have a unique set of minor gods each. Demeter's spell is a tree cutter that can be used on 3 wall maps against Japan and their mana generators, and in general to harm enemy economy a bit. A livestock stock boosts mana generation when assigned to temples with workers. Farms can be worked by 2 guys at a time, slightly cutting down the cost of going agricultural. The new set of heroes are Orpheus, who plays the stupid jingle in 2 versions all the time. Lol Aus, who is a cavalry unit, which can attack flyers, Icarus, who is a flyer himself, and Midas, who can get you some gold. The unique unit is Amazon Archer, a long ranger unit which outranges defenses, but struggles to hit a moving target even with all the upgrades.
Am I right, Peter? Am I right?
They are limited to 10 at a time. Demeter is the second god who has access to Hera for the 4th age after the patch, so Amazons can be produced for free, but not over the limit. But wait, there is more. Demeter also has a personal T4 myth unit. Harpies are flyers with pretty decent attack, but they are terrible against buildings. They also grab enemy units on cooldown. Demeter also offers a research that boosts carry capacity of food and gold for peasants and heals the peasants who gather those. The new god of the 2nd age is Pan. Sexual. Its unit is a very expensive peasant, taking 3 population slots and costing mana. But it's a bit better at eating meat specifically, and when provoked it turns into a werewolf, which is not that good in combat even in the 5th age, but they are sure better than normal peasants. If you optimize your resources, Playing against noobs and bots instead of booming in competitive PvP, you can do the research that spawns 2 of werewolves for every city build. Pan also can upgrade walls, adding turns to them. Pan's spell is localized first piece. The new god of the third age is Hestia. Her unit is a Tusi going commando. They can pretend they are real trees for an explosive ambush, but also myth archers. Her spell is a building which boosts peasant gather rates. Dropping them for every gold pile can be expensive, but dropping one between the farms and the prayer rares boosts both. It also slowly converts enemy units in its AoE. Combining this with Pan's first piece Mido can wreak chaos inside the enemy's base. Hestia offers a technology to boost archers, theoretically chaining their shots, and a technology that makes 2 farms per town center support additional population, 5 slots each. Persephone is the new god of the fourth age, and her unit is Siren. They are amphibious, but rather weak as fighters. It's probably more of a support unit for PvP or something, like disabling one high threat target or luring one loser to the feast table to be converted. Her spell is basically Ragnarok. You get 25 units per town center, with a cap of 99 random combat non-siege, non-water, non-word units used in this match, including some myth units and Amazons. But in exchange all your TCs get destroyed and disabled for a long time. Her technologies make farms heal units and make dying units boost allies nearby. Silent Sanctuary. After 2 years we got the second mythical battle because we are too lazy to make a Demeter campaign of any length. The golden gift is just 4 missions long, so the precedent is already set. The story takes place who knows when, but it is a prequel because it's Heron versus Kamos. But since Demeter is a Greek god and Greeks are the first part of this entire IP, this is acceptable. But the writing is meme cringe, referencing other things instead of creating something new. The medium-ish sized map is basically a Demeter tutorial, showcasing the new minor gods, the new units and the new technologies. There's even a relic accessible only by the flying hero. There are related achievements, most of which want you to perform something related to Demeter bonuses.
А наступил долгожданный год козла, а значит круто пойдут у нас дела.
But there's one that demands to speedrun the whole thing. Well, if we ignore that this is a paid DLC, this is more new units and a new short single player map. If you intentionally play beta as Demeter, you can even participate in the new Wolf economy and set up half farms and half temples. Ultimate Fanny Pack. And our pack of useless cosmetics. Basically, the statues that you don't notice are now golden, and you can change your profile icon, no one will ever see, because the game integrated with Steam and Gaze for Windows Dead refuses to use your already set icons. The Gauntlet has lost its beta warning, and Gauntlet is a piece of crap shareholder garbage. This is even worse than Arena. This is literally just go grind skirmishes for about 3 to 4 years of everyday work in real time, so that the concurrent online will be a bit higher. By snaring OCD spertists and people with sunken cost fallacy who got all the original achievements. It literally gives you like only 10% of one yearly level per day per like 10 maps, about 40 minutes each, on moderate and hard, and you have to hit level 99. This is literally unpaid work. The buying customers will be dancing monkeys before Microsoft shareholders between their sessions of eating people alive. It is extremely grueling and dumb. And the fact is, it never worked. They already added daily skirmish grind to AO3 and no one was happy. So they added it again in 3DE and then sunsetted that game too. And now they've added it with achievements into AO4 and AOM Hardar and made it Rogue Slope notes with 3 lives. YouTubaч Discus.
Nalia. Nichiwas. Kuali. Nalia. Kuali. Nichiwas. Nalia. Kuali. Nalia.
Scopus.
Έστω. Πρόσταγμα. Εισβολή.
Μεταλλεύς. Έτοιμοι. Μεταλλεύς.
Ulume.